So I went over in a previous video on how to purchase a house, but I never really went over the different mechanisms that are involved within the home buying process. So let's start with the mortgage. The mortgage is pretty much just a large sum of money given to you by the bank.
Part
in order
of
to
my
purchase
series on
videos, mortgage comes
as part
in
of my
some
segment
fortune
on
videos,
large
as well as
purchases,
quick videos,
I've
but
included
based
this
on
presentation
your
on how to
credit
purchase
score. I think
a car.
it's some of the
Within
higher
this
level of
presentation,
credit
there's
score
different
you
kinds
know
of
better
methods on purchasing a car,
already substantially less than someone with a very low credit
different
score.
strategies
I know
on
this is
researching
one of the largest
a car
parts of buying a house. Why would somebody, if you're ready for trouble,
for your
purchase
lifestyle.
prepaying payments? So I really highly recommend that you watch
First
this
things
from the
first, you're
beginning.
going
You
to
need
want
to
to
think
have
about
all the money
being
up
before
front.
not a charity, and it's
The reason being is because you
so it
want to
relies
have
on
as
the
much money
likelihood
as
that it will
possible
get its money
so
every
month.
The very first question you want to
not
ask
being
is you want to ask
paying
yourself
for a
if you
car.
would be dedicated
Instead
to the
to be
home buyer.
used
And
for
what you really
investment.
need to look in the mirror
Another
and want to
reason
give
is those
can I be an
people
owner
who
for the next 5
will
years?
take out
Am I willing to
the money on the car first,
house in
and
Rubino
then
that's
pay
still
it on a monthly
5
basis.
years,
We'll end up paying
5 years,
quite
a large
substantially
amount of time
more
for
for
me.
the car
I have the age where another piece of advice based on your credit score is
Another thing
never
you want
ever
to consider is
and
doing
so
your
you
research
just
way before
want
you
to
purchase the car.
financially
You want to
damaging.
know if there's
Definitely get your credit score up or look
and
for
if
an
it's
if it's
yes,
more willing then you can move on to this
stolen.
prime
Like,
mortgage.
if it's
Or
stolen,
at least a standard mortgage.
Can I make
based on
this
your
my
number
happen?
one financial
You want
priority.
to make sure that
These mortgages
the price that
also
it's going
come in
for
different
is
unless
the
you're
general price for that model
loaded
age
with
of
money
car.
to change the rates at which that many
Now,
people
I have a little bit of a typo
themselves
here.
a period of
This
time.
is never
The reason
buying
big
a
is
car
because once you
and
purchase
you
a
really
house,
should say
therefore
always buy a
you
used car.
get the mortgage payment
reason
and
being
something
is the newer car,
long. Your house is going to be your number one
you're going to
priority
use
because it has smaller interest rates.
You've probably heard
And
that
that
before.
for some people is big.
It's
huge. And you really need to fathom the fact that this will be
Another
your
thing
child
is
for the
always
many years, depending on
It's not mandatory in your
preferably
state.
5 or more, yielded from the overall sum of the mortgage spent on a monthly basis. This will be your number one financial priority for. Made sure that as long as you're willing to hold on, still have the flat rate.
So,
And once
going
again,
a little bit
this
into
is
my
the interest rate.
my strategy for purchasing a
and
car
they're tailored
to
to
your
credit
cash
score.
flow.
As I said,
Initially, is that lower your liabilities as you go along with insurance,
less
which
than
is
your
already a
monthly
payment.
payment. Am I ready to donate time, money, and
It cuts the
payments?
need to
You'll
pay
have
more
to
than
know
the
that
price of the
last
car
question
off the lot.
about dedicating
Which
to making
can
it your number
definitely
one
happen
risk.
as
I already
individuals
say, you know what? You also need to realize that
It
you're
increases
going
the
to
desire to
into
further
this
take
as
care of
well
the
as
car.
that. You do not get your
On
money
more
back
of a
for in
psychological
addition to the money.
basis.
And this could be
The fact that you
repairing
saved
it,
up for it,
trying to
you
sell
worked
it,
for it,
important
and
fact
you
now into
purchased it
consideration.
as one.
The yard
Always
nice,
put it
everything. Now what you're actually is with essentially the amount of money
know
in the house that
you
you
have
sold your
full
house.
ownership.
Taking a house
If
into
you
a
get it
home,
initially
and that's
without paying
nice.
cent
Take
for
it
it,
into
and
consideration
later, it kind of takes that
once again,
pride out of the situation.
is anything you
Most
own, you're doing what you're doing, so you're
Another thing
so
is,
if I were to sell a house
they'll
today,
leave a lot of
owe the
money
bank
free on that
30%
monthly
of
basis
what I
when
have
paying for the car
purchased that
payment.
once again, took out a
to use
loan
for
for the
investing
whole
and
financial
other
owe the
aspects.
bank 30%.
In other words,
have
the money that
track
you would
that
normally
going from the
have
amount
to
to
pay
make off the
just
monthly
took
payments.
a
They'll
loan
still
out
be
of
able
it.
to plus any
Collect
kind of
could be
realtor's
tagged
fees,
towards
plus any
investment
purchase house,
pounds,
then additional
additional
fees in order to
fees,
sell the still, and
some
what other
leftover
way of living.
pounds.
So make sure that you
Anything
will be still able
really used to
to
grow
be
money
able then
versus just
to
throwing it
live
into a
comfortably.
car.
Your equity also rises these payments
as
further payments are made to the bank.
a little tiny
Lessening
tool
of
that
the blow
is
of
very
ground
useful
check
for
to see if
using,
your safety net's
when
going
you're
to
trying to
bank up yet.
calculate
We
when you
cover
sell
it
it.
in other videos.
Now, what that pretty
safety
much
net
means
video.
is the net price.
You're going to want to be
when
sure
you
that you'll be able
purchase
to
the car.
alleviate
Minus what you're going to
damages
sell it
assessed
for once you're done using that car.
They can be alleviated
And
financial emergencies.
hopefully that number will come out to a positive number,
damage,
which means that you can actually use
but also with
money
your
to pay
safety
off that car,
net, lose your
which is
job, or
a better
it's
car.
very difficult.
But don't be discouraged if you don't make any money
Once
off
again,
that
that's kind of why
sale
you
at
should
the
be
end.
Are you ready to follow the
Because
rules?
it's a very common experience.
With this being are you willing to take
Before you purchase a car, you should do research
up front? You can also lose large amounts of money in addition to paying on the house.
That price of the car will drop
unsteady house of the house
tends to drop as
no
the
boiler or
not move
walls
money
or
for
I don't know, at least a quarter of your mortgage paid off. Technically losing a lot of money. It's a great way to break ground.
Definitely
some
I've
people
also
disagree
made
with
this
this.
slide
I'll go
just
over
so I
it.
can
So if
show
you
the
do,
difference
go ahead and
between
do whatever
buying
you
a new
want.
car,
That includes
buying
paying
an
off
old car,
closing
why it's
costs.
better
Like
to
I
stay
said,
in
the
an
first
old
one
car.
is just a suggestion.
So,
That you also
the
need to find a
disadvantages
house that
of
will
new
meet your
cars
needs for
is
at
they
least 5
cost
years.
less as soon as
Is
it's
my credit
purchased.
score where it
Once I
should be?
said,
In other words,
once you
am I
drive it
able
off
to
the
afford
lot,
a
it
subprime
loses its
mortgage?
value. In other words, it's
Or
no
and
longer
also
more
buying a house
used
or
car. So it doesn't
most likely
have all the
determining
prices
prices
and
and
costs
once
that
again,
go into the
that
car.
is my previous video is more numerical.
Doesn't have.
So if you want a
So
little
they
more,
could be more
if it's a
expensive.
yes, then
Kinda
information about
goes
those
on the
topics,
very first
those go
reason.
to that video.
And what
Try
that
to
means
boost your
is
credit
they
score a little bit more.
sometimes will tack the price on for
over how you could
what
do
it
so.
costed to ship it. If
Can I
it's a
afford the
foreign
monthly
car,
payments?
it
I feel like
could
this
even
kind
have a
of goes
price
hand in
of
hand with when I
overseas
make
shipping,
it up.
which
But
you're paying into.
It's
which you then
really
not
important
pay
that
for
you
through an older
are
car
able to
or a
make
used
those
car.
payments
And
efficiently,
that goes into
and like I
having all
said,
sorts of
while
additional
still
costs
maintaining some
tacked
kind
onto
of
them.
quality of life while you're doing it.
Which
Not,
could be
of course, you're
brand,
going to need to make
branding,
sacrifices
recognition,
along the way,
like
but
paying for
it,
new
on the
clothes
whole,
that
you're
have
going
a
to
new
need
brand.
to be able to
Same goes
make
for
these
cars.
payments and
May not be better, but the
succumb
brand
to
itself will
foreclosure.
jack up the price way more than it really
It doesn't
needs
make sense to buy right now.
grossly inflated
This
prices.
will probably be your last
Another
question,
thing to take into
where
consideration is
you need
it's
to just
new
ask yourself,
model,
is this the kind of market where it's appropriate to buy right
actually
now? Are the
deteriorate
houses
as you own
inflated?
it? And once
Will
again,
the
that
house
goes into
be
the whole assumption that
in
you're going to lose
disrepair
value
because
as
the
soon as you
person's just
drive
trying
off
to get
the
rid
lot.
of it? Or is the local
And a lot
housing
of newer
market crashing
models,
because
from what
of,
I've
say, a
heard,
landfill
tend to actually
opened
deteriorate
up,
a little bit
or
faster than some
simply
of
the
the older
economy's
cars.
not doing so good?
And
And
let's look at
if
older cars.
it
or
doesn't
used
make
cars in this
sense, then
case.
don't buy. Simple
They
as
tend to
that.
maintain or very slowly lose value as they're already used. So all kinds of additional fluff price, as I like to call it, or the branding and the shipping, all sorts of stuff like that, strip off completely. They also tend to cost a lot less than when they were new. Kind of goes without saying. And have mostly standard costs attached. So that means you're paying just for the car and nothing else. Once again, no fluff prices. And sometimes, if you could purchase an antique, or not too antique, of course, but a older car, they could have a higher quality because of their age. So they might have been able to use better materials than what they do now. So when you're shopping for this used car, you're going to want to first start out, just like in anything else you're going to purchase, you want to start out by researching it while keeping in mind the characteristics of your ideal car, very similar to purchasing a house. If you haven't seen that already, then just keep that in mind. Just know that you're going to have to research for your ideal car, miles per gallon, all sorts of factors that you want in your ideal car. Look for something that you can calculate having a high resale value. That goes back to the total cost of ownership. In other words, something that you know that you can then upgrade as soon as you sell to a better car that costs a little bit more. Once you finish that, you're going to want to negotiate the lowest possible price, keeping in mind you are always allowed to walk away. That means if a dealer is trying to sell you the car and they're being very unreasonable, or unreasonable in your opinion, you always have the right as the buyer to walk off the lot and look elsewhere. But keep in mind that it is the job of the salesman to sell you a car, and a day where they do not have people purchasing a car is a day lost of wages. Finally, you're going to want to find the one with the lowest recurring costs. In other words, you're going to want good miles per gallon. You're going to want something that doesn't constantly break down, so you can use a few nifty tools, which I'll show you later, on knowing whether or not it'll have that those kind of recurring costs, which end up making it more than you've actually purchased it for in the long run. And finally, you're going to want to know when you're ready. And the way you're going to know when you're ready is these following factors. You're going to have the amount needed to purchase the car in question at full sticker price. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to use all of that money to purchase the car, but be ready, almost as if you were willing to purchase it at full sticker price, but then afterwards negotiate it, so then you'll actually even have some money left over after you purchase it. You're going to also want to have the ability to purchase insurance along with the insurance choice in mind. In other words, check to see your ideal car insurance and then see if it fits into your regular monthly budget. If it doesn't, then continue working to increase that income or find a different kind of insurance. And then you're also going to want a full safety net established. As I've mentioned, full safety nets are the second line of defense next to avoiding risk in avoiding financial emergencies. Now, a car has a very large ability to succumb to financial emergencies, as you can easily get into an accident every single day you drive it out of your driveway. And so you're going to want that established for anything that your insurance in the future would not be able to cover.